Awesome. Okay, let's get rolling. Thanks so much for being flexible and starting a minute late. So, Mike Ferry sent me all of his notes and to all the one-on-one clients, those of us that pay for a bunch of money for Premier Coaching, sent out all his notes. So we really can go through a lot of his production retreat notes. And the reason why they're so valuable is that they're really tuned into this current market right now with what's going on. And the funny thing is, when you go to Mike's retreats over the years, and you've been to one or two or 10 or 20 or more, you're hearing the same information again and again and again. But it's catered to the current time that we're in. But then you also realize is that he's always going back to basics, and those basics you can literally rely on those in any market. Time management. Is it important to have a real solid handle on your valuable asset of time, whether it's a good market or a bad market? Like, some of these things never ever change. But anyway, these things are absolutely relevant and catered to today's market. So let's start and going through these notes, and we'll start with his first point. And he opened up the retreat literally talking about time management. Because if we can't get control of our time, I mean, think about your day yesterday, right? So what I'm doing now, Jackie and I, we're printing out and writing down in 15-minute increments everything we do throughout the day to have better time management. This really gives us a very brutally honest viewing accountability of how we're spending our time. Think about how you spent your time yesterday. Was it effective? When you actually start tracking it, you realize, holy crap, I spend so much time on emails. I spend so much time on, lead follow-up, or I spend so much time talking a client off the edge, or trying to put out a fire or keep a deal together. So once we're really accountable to our schedule and our time, it is a wonderful jumping off point. So point number one, time management. And point number one is this: treat your business as if it were a real job. As if it were a real job, which makes your schedule much easier to follow. Real estate is a double-edged sword. I think we can all agree on that. You're your own boss. That's great. You get to control your time. You get to control your, where you are, when you're going to be there. The problem is you get to control your time, and there is no accountability. You show up for work where you're punching a clock, or there's an expectation, you're getting a salary, and you're supposed to be there at 8 a.m. and you roll in at noon. Hey guys, I'm here. You know what? I just came in, but I'm gonna go for a couple hour lunch, so I'll be back in a couple hours. No, when you have a manager or a boss, it's like, Mark, that ain't gonna work. You're out of here, right? So when you treat this like a real job, like you have some, you are your manager, you are your boss. Your schedule is your manager. Your clients are your boss. Your goals are your boss. But if we can treat it like a real job and show up on time and work efficiently, as if we had a manager or a coach looking over our shoulder, and don't take a 2-hour lunch and leave on time, and just, really have a level of control. You treat it like a real job, the schedule all of a sudden is very easy to follow. But really kind of just elevating your commitment to that. Next point, which is something I already alluded to: keep track of your time hour by hour for a couple of days to identify both strengths and weaknesses of your time management system. So keep track hour by hour just for a few days. I think I did it for Tuesday through Friday of last week, and I'm going to keep doing it. I would strongly encourage you guys to do this. You can literally write down on a piece of paper, 8, 8:15, 8:30, 8:45, 9, 9:15, 9:30, 9:40, and just go right down from the time you stop till the time you end. And it does two things for you. Number one, because you're actually writing it down, you will be more efficient. You're not going to take a super long lunch. You're not going to spend that time on social media. because you're having to write it down. There's already a level of accountability. You want to be more efficient? Start to track and write down what you do every day. That's the first immediate benefit. You will literally get more efficient just by writing it down. Bless you, Dave. The second thing that happens is that you really can identify why you're not reaching your goals, where the bottlenecks are, where you're getting pushed off course. So for me, I'll share my own experience because I wrote it down all last week. What I realized by doing this every day, I'm not doing nearly enough prospecting, very little. I'm doing a ton of lead follow-up with very, very long conversations. And I was doing way too much deal management, managing a deal, putting out fires, talking to clients. And when you actually start to break it down, there's only two types of activities that we are participating in. There's income producing activities and income servicing activities. I realized I was spending a lot of time on income servicing activities. Those I should try and delegate more so I can spend my time on the income producing side of the equation. If we're not doing lead gen, prospecting, something to produce more income, these escrows are going to close and then we're out of business. We're out of work. So I would strongly recommend for those of you, has anybody tried this before in the past? Try it. It'll blow your mind. It's really, really good. Next point. Your schedule, if you have one, is a working document. Be flexible with it. Don't be too rigid. Imagine you have a coach or somebody you respect in the real estate business looking over your shoulder, watching your activities all day long. What would they say? Would they say, you're doing awesome, great job, like you are crushing it, you're so efficient? Or would they say, wow, like, do your clients know how many breaks you take or how inefficient you are? So the schedule is a working document. You might start out, you know what? That's it. I'm going to make a schedule. I'm going to keep the schedule. But then as you're going through your day, you might realize it's just not realistic. It's a working document. Change it. It's not written in stone. You don't have to have the same schedule as anyone else. This is for you. So remember, it's simply a working document, and it is there to serve you achieving your goals. Next point. Following your schedule is simply developing a habit like any habit you have. I got into the habit of not following a schedule. Now I'm developing the habit once again to follow a schedule. And the more often you do it, the easier it becomes. But obviously, how long does it take to develop a habit? What's your experience? People say 21 days. I don't know if that's true or not. But the point is, it takes time. You're not going to just change your habit in 24 hours and all of a sudden you got this awesome schedule. It's a skill. It's a skill. Sean, you were going to the gym for a while. Are you still doing that each morning? Yeah.
Yes, I am. Yep.
Awesome. That is just a habit that you developed. It's a skill born out of motivation to get healthy, to get fit. And you have developed that habit. And now it is just very much a part of who you are, what you do, and that commitment to your health. Just a habit. Next point, since we can't let anything interrupt or delay a qualified listing appointment, keep in mind that your schedule is as important as a listing appointment. So since the high quality prospecting is done in the morning, don't let anything interrupt that period of time. If you had a listing appointment, would you blow it off because you wanted to surf social media? No way. Not in a million years. Listing appointment is like the most golden opportunity. It is the best use of your time. That takes absolute priority over anything. You create a day around that. If you know you got a listing appointment, nothing's interrupting that. That's kind of, you need the schedule, the prospecting time to develop listing appointments. They don't just appear out of thin air. That's why your schedule is so important. Treat it as if it was a listing appointment. If you commit to doing lead gen for an hour or two a day from the hours of 8 to 10 or whatever it is, treat it with the respect it deserves. That is exactly how you're going to develop listing appointments. Mark, I would say you're pretty committed to your morning routine, your role play and practice, and then your prospecting, right?
Absolutely committed.
More committed than I think I've ever seen you, actually. So would you say you've kind of developed that habit right now? I mean, you're in that rut of positivity, right? You're like, there's a rut. It's like you're on train tracks. There's no veering off of it.
Well, yeah, it's like like I said before, it uses you. My schedule uses me.
That's pretty awesome. That's a way that, yeah, you just plug and play. You figure out a schedule that works for you and you just show up, get on the phones, get to work.
I don't have to think about it.
Yeah. Next point, which is kind of a bonus point, give a copy of your schedule to somebody that you can create some level of accountability with. Accountability is so key, especially if you're like any other human on the planet. And, we're not lone wolves. People very much respond positively and favorably when there's a level of collaboration with other people. Mark, actually, we'll go back to you. You do your role play in the morning with a large group of people, right, out of Neil Schwartz's office. And then there's an accountability where you guys are prospecting together. You're on a Zoom prospecting and everyone's doing their thing. You can see each other prospecting, right?
That's right.
So even on days that you don't feel like doing it, do you do it anyway?
Yeah, the feelings don't play into it.
Exactly. And a large part of that is the accountability. In fact, Mark said it was like a week or two ago, where Neil wanted somebody to step up and fill a prospecting slot. And he called out Mark. He said, Mark, how about you? Maybe Mark didn't feel like prospecting that day. He goes, yep, I'll do it. That's accountability. That's accountability. So there's just a few points on schedule and time management, because it really does kind of free up the space and set the stage for those lead gen activities that are like the most valuable thing for building our business. So that was point number one. That was, I'd say, section number one. Section number two is prospecting, lead generation. Prospecting and lead gen, and point number A under prospecting. To make your prospecting time more efficient, make your mornings media-free and interruption-free. Media-free and interruption-free. No social media, no emails, no responding to voicemails. It is such an easy way to get stuck down the rabbit hole of God knows what once you start letting your time be controlled by whatever happens to show up in your email or social media or the news or listening to I got to call this person back. The reality is there's almost nothing that can't wait till after 12 noon as far as business is concerned. You know, if a deal's going to fall apart at 10 a.m., it's either going to fall apart or not going to fall apart by noon. Like in other words, it it it, it will come together or it will fall apart. And there's really not a whole lot in many cases. When there's motivated buyer and seller, it comes together. When there's not, it falls apart. Do we really need to drop everything and start chasing our tails and putting out fires? So take that point seriously. Really try and keep the mornings media free as much as possible. Emails, social media, boy, what a way to lose control of your time. I actually realized personally that I was spending too much time on YouTube. It's not terrible things that I watch, and it's sometimes it's motivational stuff, but there's always like these random things, and I just start watching and watching and watching. So I'm on a YouTube fast, just totally eliminated it, and I haven't done it for maybe 5-6 days. It's bought me so much of my time back. That was my kind of weakness. I just start watching random, it could be like a funny pet video or someone doing some extraordinary thing in sports or some business thing that's inspirational, or it's okay. But for me, it was a major black hole for my time. I never felt good after spending an hour watching random videos. I never felt like I made any progress. Like I just felt like, wow, I just got stupider. There's a random, valuable point, but in most cases it was just a waste. So by eliminating that, it really has freed me up so much to be creative with filling my time with positive things. Does anybody on the call have a personal kind of issue or problem with social media or something like that? You guys, do you feel like it kind of consumes you sometimes, Phil? Do you feel like you spend too much time on there?
Absolutely. I'm always on Instagram watching reels with these stupid videos. It's just yeah, it's very addicting.
Yeah. I think I read somewhere, there was studies, they hook up um, you know, electromagnetic, data retrieving kind of systems, and they watch brain activity. And it's very similar to drug addicts. I think it's like I think they said it was like very similar, like a heroin high. The brain activity. It really is. It's giving you these shots of adrenaline and dopamine or whatever it does. I don't know the science behind it, but it is absolutely addicting. So based on my experience and just now having 5-6 days on this fast and knowing how great I feel, like I now have replaced that with writing down my goals every day, writing down, my 10 goals, the 10 things I'm grateful for. In the afternoon, I've replaced, that with, writing down what I did great today, what I could improve upon, what I learned. Like that is like some seriously like productive activities that I've replaced it with. So you might want to try the same. Just say to yourself, I'm not going to open it up. Or if it's a part of your business, if part of your business growth is participating with people on social media, maybe what you do is you set a timer. I have a $5 kitchen timer that, if I have to do something or go somewhere, like I'll set a timer for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, because I don't want to forget. Maybe you just set a simple timer that, okay, I've got to go on social media for business and post some things and comment on some people's posts or whatever. And it's how I communicate with clients. And that's okay. Maybe you set a timer. I'm not going to do it in the morning. I will do it from, 4 to 4:30 p.m. daily, whatever you choose. But that could be,
Yeah.
it could be, and I would say do it towards the end of the day, because you don't want to get pulled off track, and then you're thinking about it. And carve out a time block it, put it in its little bucket, and don't even think about it. So I would, anybody that has kind of one of those vices that really isn't serving you, I would say, Sean, you've probably developed a habit, and maybe even you're addicted to the adrenaline rush of working out every morning. I would say that's a pretty healthy vice. That's a pretty healthy habit. But if there's things that don't serve you in a way that you want to grow, maybe consider taking a little fast. Next point, we must determine where our business comes from before we can decide where we're going to, in the future, look to get our business from. So create a very simple system for sourcing all of your deals. All of your deals, and look back in 2023. How many deals did you do? Were they buyers? Were they sellers? What was the ratio? Was it 60% buyers and 40% sellers? Was it 80-20? And where did they come from? Did they come from repeat and referral business from past clients? Did they come from your center of influence? Were they referrals from your beach volleyball group that you play with and you've played with for years? Were they for sale by owners? What were they? But by determining where your business in the last 12 months has come from, now you really can see where you should be putting your efforts. It doesn't take long. It is such a valuable tool. If you are getting 75% of your business from your past clients and your center of influence, and you're getting 25% from open house and some other things, and maybe you're spending money on purchasing leads, the numbers don't lie. Like, do I really need to spend $1,000 a month? I didn't do one transaction. Like, I got a bunch of leads that turned out to be junky leads. I didn't do any business. I spent $12,000 last year, and 75% of my business is from my past clients and my center of influence. So rather than spend $12,000 on buying leads, why don't I reallocate that money? Instead of spending $12,000, why don't I spend $6,000 or $5,000 or $3,000 and do a client appreciation party twice a year? Or get my vendors to help me pay for it, and then I can do it for free. And I put all that money in my pocket. If you're getting 75% of your business from your past clients and center of influence, imagine if you really took that level of service to the next level. I mean, it's such powerful stuff when you know your numbers. Only works if you know your numbers, though. Only works if you know your numbers. So highly recommend. Look at 2023 business, source it, and understand the buyer and seller ratio, and then really where the deals came from. Next point. We have to understand why prospecting is difficult at times. Why is it difficult at times? By understanding why it's difficult, then we can develop the strength to overcome that. It's almost like we're handling our own objection. We know how to handle objections for buyers and sellers. I want to interview another agent, or, let's start high. We can always come down later. Or I want you to reduce your commission, right? Like, those are objection handlers. Well, by understanding why prospecting can be difficult at times, we're learning how to handle those objections for ourselves. So what's the first reason why prospecting can be difficult at times? Number one, I don't know how to prospect. Yeah, if you don't know how to prospect, it can be absolutely difficult. If that's the case, then how can you learn how to prospect? Who can you go shadow and watch them prospect. If you don't know how to prospect, just come into the office and watch Mark on any given day. He's on the phones, headset on, just calling and calling and calling, using a script, digging deeper, looking for motivation, not being attached to the outcome, going to the next one. So that's number one. I don't know how to prospect.
Sorry, having
Number
said
two.
that, Eric, I have to jump
Yep.
off an appointment.
Great. That sounds awesome.
Thank you. I'll see you guys later.
You see you, Mark. Number two, we have to understand why prospecting is difficult at times. There's only 6 points here, and then we'll wrap for the day. But number two, why is prospecting difficult at times? And remember, prospecting is the lifeblood of our business. That is what keeps us going. Sometimes you might get business because you went to a birthday party and you're hanging out and your friend introduced you to somebody else and they needed to buy a house. And it's like, guess what? That's prospecting. You're out there. You're putting yourself out there, talking to people, asking questions, ready to serve. So whatever mode of prospecting works best for you. The second reason why prospecting can be difficult at times, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. That's a legitimate reason that people don't want to prospect. So you give yourself that objection. How do you handle that objection? Gosh, I don't know what to say. Can you learn what to say? Absolutely. You go to MikeFerry.com. Every script, every single selling situation is there for free. You want to learn how to have a really great listing presentation? Just memorize the presentation that he gives to you for free. You want to learn how to call past clients, center of influence, or for sale by owners? It's right there. You want to learn how to handle objections? It's all there. So I don't know what to say. Seek out that information, rehearse it, practice it, role play it. Tons of wonderful videos on YouTube, that you can get a tremendous education. I don't know what to say. We can handle that objection, right? Number three reason why prospecting is difficult at times. I just have unproductive work habits. Bad habits. Sure, that's reasonable. We all have bad habits. But can you handle that objection? Yeah, we can handle that. Okay, I've got bad habits. All right, I'm gonna create a schedule and do my darndest to follow that schedule. And if I need to tweak it and change it over time, I'll tweak it and change it. And I'm gonna get myself an accountability partner. And we're gonna talk in the morning and then talk at the end of our prospecting session so we can hold each other accountable. And I can check in afterwards and ask them how much they prospected, how many contacts they made, and how many conversations they had. And they can ask the same of me. And then, many times you don't want to let the other person down. That accountability, we'll let ourselves down all the time. But in many cases, we don't want to let the other person down. So the third reason why prospecting is difficult at times, you have unproductive work habits. Okay, we can get over that. The fourth reason, I can't handle rejection. I can't handle rejection, or I can't handle acceptance, or I can't handle embarrassment. So I can't handle rejection, acceptance, or embarrassment. The rejection part is easy, right? It's like, who likes rejection? But that's a very obvious thing. I don't like the rejection of it, right? Okay, I get that. How about you can't handle acceptance? This is kind of a crazy thought. I don't know if this has ever happened to any of you guys, but in many cases, we view ourselves at a certain income level. We view ourselves at a certain number of deal level. Listen, I sell a deal a month. I sell 3 deals a month. I'm a $100,000 earner. It's what I do every year. I'm a $500,000 earner. It's what I do every year, whatever it is. I'm $1 million. Like you can be complacent at any level. But if you're someone that has made like $100,000 3 or 4 or 5 years in a row, and the stars start aligning, and in the first 6 months of the year, you make 160 grand, You've already eclipsed your standard year by $60,000 6 months into the year. If you're not careful, you will completely check out for the second half of the year. Because in our minds, it's not easy to handle acceptance. We get very conditioned, sometimes even at a high level. So just have an awareness of that. Number 5 reason why prospecting is difficult at times. I don't track my numbers. Not tracking numbers can make prospecting very, very difficult. Why is that? Because all you know is, God, I was on the phone all day. I talked to all these people. I didn't get any leads, and I do it again tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And all of a sudden, I've gone 30 days and I've prospected my butt off all day long, and I didn't get anything. And then you start tracking your numbers and you realize, wow, I'm making 4 to 5 contacts a day. And they're not even that quality of contacts. But now that I'm tracking my numbers, I can see, like, numbers don't lie. I can see in black and white what I do and what I don't do. So that's number 5 reason on why prospecting is difficult at times. You don't track your numbers. If you're not somebody that tracks numbers, I would suggest tracking like 2 or 3 very simple numbers. Number 1 is the number of hours that you prospect. Number of hours that you prospect. I'm going to carve out an hour a day or 3 hours a day or whatever it is for you. Track your start time and your stop time of uninterrupted getting after business development. The second number is how many contacts you've made. How many contacts you've made. All right, I was prospecting for 3 hours. I made 6 contacts in 3 hours. Boy, that's not good. Mike says we should be making 10 to 12 contacts per hour, which means in 3 hours, 30 to 36 contacts. If you're tracking your numbers and you're making 30 to 36 contacts every single day, you will find business, guaranteed. So tracking numbers. And the last reason why prospecting is difficult at times, I don't get results fast enough. Can you guys relate to that? I don't get results fast enough. Are you kidding me? I've been prospecting my tail off for 30 days straight. 60 days straight, 90, 120 days. I should have earned 100 grand by now or more. We don't get results fast enough. That's one reason. And for that, it's really just a matter of readjusting expectations, right? So if you're tracking your numbers and you realize I need to amp up how many people I'm talking to, and then you go from talking to 6 people a day to talking to 25 or 30 people a day. And you're tracking these numbers and you're going a week or 2 or 3, boom, week number 3, I found someone. Go on the appointment, you got a listing. Whether it's 3 weeks or 3 months, whatever it is, now you start to develop your numbers. Now you really realize, okay, maybe I thought I wasn't getting results fast enough, but I can see after 51 days of prospecting, I actually took a listing. You know, I developed 5 or 6 or 7 leads, and I actually took a listing after 51 days of prospecting, and it was 103 hours, and you know, it was 866 contacts. All right, now I know. I'm going to get back on the phone. You get back on the phone, and 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 5 weeks later, you find a buyer. Get them qualified, put them under contract. Now you're starting to really understand that it does take time. Maybe you're not getting results fast enough, but as you understand the numbers, God, there's comfort in that. Because now I know, okay, I'm seeing a pattern here. Now I've got 2 deals in escrow. It took me roughly 1,700 contacts, so 850 contacts per escrow. Like, I'm getting this now. All right, let me get back on the phones. Let me see if I can get more efficient. 511 contacts later, I got another one. Okay, that's better than 800 something. Now it's at 500 something. as you start to talk to different sources, you realize that past clients and center of influences, you'll do that in way less context than you will cold calling, let's say, or calling around listings and sales. So hopefully out of today's call, you're able to just grab 1 or 2 points that you can take with you and implement this week. Maybe it's something as simple as, I'm going to actually track what I do every day. I'm going to track my time. I'm going to track how many people I talk to daily. You know what? I'll just start. And it's okay if it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed by my activities all the time. I feel like, wow, now that I know the real numbers, I should be doing more. I expect more of myself. Great. Motivates me to get up and get going. But having a brutally honest evaluation of where you're at, understanding the numbers, having a solid schedule, really is the launching pad for building, your business to a higher and higher and higher level. So super cool stuff. Anybody have anything personally that they're going through that we as a group can support you on, as far as anything in the business, whether it's prospecting or schedule or, handling objections or all the above? Anything that anybody is managing that needs some support with? Cool. Well, good stuff, guys. I really appreciate you guys being here, and thank you for your participation, and really think about what you're going to implement this week just to make a little 1 degree movement in your business. You make these little 1 or 2 degree moves in your business, and all of a sudden it is transformed over time. So keep up the great work, and go get them out there, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Have a great one. Thanks so much.